Hey guys, Gathering the Magic back again, and it's time for the fifth edition of the Market Watch. Today is February 24th. It's been 2 weeks since we did our last Market Watch, so let's take a look and see how token prices have gone, pack prices, card prices, all that good deal. So starting off with SPS, 2 weeks ago, I should change this from last week to previous, because it was 2 weeks ago, not last week. But previously, 2 weeks ago, SPS was around 2.35 cents. Now SPS has moved up to 2.61. Vouchers, 3.23. I thought they would stay at that or maybe drift a little bit lower. They've actually gone a little bit higher, and they're a little bit above 3.5 cents right now. So probably partly with Bitcoin, having a nice rally going above 50,000. That's kind of dragged a lot of the token prices higher, so we can see a nice little increase in SPS and vouchers. As far as vouchers in circulation, previously 2 weeks ago there was basically 11.7 million. Now they're 11.9. So in the last 14 days we've gained 183,584 vouchers to the supply, which is about 13,000 a day. Now it's important to note that 40,000 vouchers have been released every day, but over the last 2 weeks, that number has increased by 40,000 a day. It's only gone up by 13,000. So that means 27,000 vouchers have been burned every day for the last 2 weeks on average. So good to kind of take note of that. So we still don't have a ton of voucher burns. Currently, probably one of the main ones is for the airdrop. So if you got the Rage airdrop cards, you can use I believe it's 20 vouchers to try to increase your chance to get a gold foil. So that might be part of it, but still interesting to note that this isn't going up nearly anywhere close to 40,000 a day. It's 13. So good news there if you're holding vouchers. They're not getting inflated as quickly as they could. Now, as far as the SPS burn goes, previously 2 weeks ago, we had about 48.7 million SPS that had been burnt. Now we're up to 52.7 million, so over 4 million voucher or SPS has been burnt in the last 2 weeks. So we are burning on average just under 300,000 SPS a day. Okay, so now for packs, you can see the pack prices, and I added another column here. I'm going to keep track of this as well, is how many packs are left unopened. As far as I can tell, going by Peak Monsters and some other websites to get this information. Alpha packs, still I think surprisingly low, but not a lot of demand at this point for alpha packs. So 2 weeks ago they were just under 47. Now they've moved up to 58. And as far as I can tell, there's about 4,300 unopened alpha packs left. That's why I say alpha packs are just a great long-term investment. As we get more eyeballs on Splinterlands and Splinterlands continues to grow, and you get some whales that come into the game, one of the things they may want to invest in are some of the rare assets, and one of the rarest assets that we have are alpha packs. So just something to keep note of there. Beta, basically unchanged, just a little bit lower, just a little bit under 23,000 packs left for beta. Untamed, another dip from about $10 down to 8. Best I can tell, there's just under 46,000 Untamed packs. Dice went from just under 14 to around 12. There's about 5,300 dice packs left. Orb, someone must have just sold a pack cheap. This can kind of skew some of the prices that I get from Hive. If you have someone that puts in a very low bid and someone just wants to liquidate, you can have some kind of anomalies for the prices. So not a lot of demand for orb packs, so there's only a few that sell every week. So that's probably the reason why I went from 27 to 14, and there's about 7,000 packs left for orb. Chaos Legion continues to be just a great buy. Still under 90 cents, ticked up a little bit, but not much, 84 to 88 cents. And there's just under 2.4 million packs left for Chaos Legion. Rift Watchers is still holding its value decently, dipped a little bit from about 368 to 341, and still, look at the low supply, only 130,000 Rift Watcher packs are unopened. And then finally, Rebellion, Still holding strong, just under 380, and 7.5 million packs left until those packs are gone. Okay, so now let's get into the sets and let's get into alpha. So if we take a look at the market, let's go ahead and take a look at alpha. Start with the core cards. So I know one thing that I need to start doing, I've done it a little bit, but KGM Jam is doing it every day with his DCAing, is he's buying at least one alpha card a day. I think that's a fantastic idea. These alpha cards remind me so much of alpha and beta cards in Magic the Gathering a few years ago, where some of the commons, some of the least desirable cards were going for, a buck or a couple of bucks or whatever. And I was like, how are cards this rare and this old, from the original set at these low prices? And within, a couple of years, a lot of the alpha and beta cards, did many multiples in price, as people realized just how rare those cards are. And you can see the total print run here, even for the commons, you're looking at 3, 4, 5,000 cards circulating, and that's it. So really like his idea. Shout out to him. It's something that I need to do. I have picked up a couple alpha cards. One of the cards I picked up is I went ahead and I bought a Flesh Golem. So I got a level 3 Flesh Golem just to get him with the heal. So I thought that was a great buy. So he's also another thing that you guys probably know. Alpha cards do give you a bonus in ranked play. So if you're not playing Modern and playing Wild, there's really no reason not to pick up a couple of these cards, even if you get them to like the silver level, just to get that 10% bonus. And like you can see, a lot of these cards are, great cards, useful cards. You've got the Inspire, you've got Heal, Flesh Golem gets a heal, Sneak for 2 mana. So there's a lot of good cards in Alpha that are very, very affordable. And if you look at the numbers too, for commons, you're in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But then once again, most of these are going to be single BCX. You're not going to have a whole lot that are leveled up. So just a heads up there. Okay, so let's look at the rares. Not a lot of movement in the rares. $1.80. The one anomaly is a Silver Shield Paladin, which should probably be like $3, $4, $5. As you can see, a lot of these are in the teens or 20s in the market. Since there's only 2 Silver Shield Paladins, the reason the price is so high is simply because they are both max copies. Not because this card is $209 for a single BCX. This is a max copy, and it's the only one available on the market. There are no single BCX. So that's kind of why that price is so high. So if you look at level 1, you're going to go from 20 results to 19. So at least for that card is dried up as far as single BCX goes. Epics, not a lot of change. So we can just take a look at that real quick, just to kind of look at the liquidity. As you can see, 12, 10 are the most, and a lot of these are, single digits for cards. And then your legendaries, there's only 6 available. And I believe there's more than that. I think there was, at least 9 or 10 legendaries for Alpha. And there's only 6 available on the market. There's only 1 Spirit of the Forest. So these cards are drying up and very low quantity. Looking at them, they're all under $100, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, okay, they're this rare, they're legendary, they're from Alpha. Would it be worth it to pick up a Chromatic Dragon for $35 and then just sit on it? But not financial advice, but I'm just thinking about the long-term potential of some of these rare cards. And as far as the gold foils go, I know gold foils, let's just go all levels. Okay, so looking at the commons, it looks like there's at least, because there are 20 commons in the set, so it looks like there's at least 1 copy of each common gold foil alpha card on the market, but as you can see, it's very low quantities. I was tempted, to pick up one of these for $29, a Rexy for $30. I'm really thinking about Flesh Golem. I just bought a regular foil one, but to get a gold foil Flesh Golem for under $40 is very tempting, so I'm going to have to think about that. But as you can see, very low liquidity for these cards. Moving on to the rares. Once again, so you're looking at, basically $80 to 584. Um, Great card. All these cards are just so nice. I remember fighting this all the time when I first started playing a couple years ago, Cerberus. So $109 for a gold foil alpha. It just, once again, guys, I can't stress it enough how rare these cards are. But not a whole lot of movement as far as prices go from the last couple of weeks. Selena Sky and Lightning Dragon for alpha. Let's look real quick at the epics. So there's only one epic. Previously, there were no epic gold foil alphas on the market. We've got one Mischievous Mermaid for 2,500 and no legendaries. So that's the alpha market. So let's move on to beta. So let's go to common and let's go off of this and go to beta. Let's just look at the common cards. So basically betas are still, you're looking at 10 cents for the cheapest, and then the most expensive, just around the 50-cent range. So I mentioned this in previous videos. So one thing I really love about betas compared to Untamed and the newer sets is the fact that it takes a lot fewer cards to level in the lower leagues, just to get a better, the card, because normally it would take you 14 copies to get a level 3 card. Now it only takes you 5 for beta. It does take more once you get to the max level, because it takes 505 to max one of these out compared to 400. But if you're someone that is looking only to getting your cards to like level 5 or 6 or so, betas are the way to go. And they are affordable. So just looking at beta, just kind of the overall look of beta, not a whole lot of change. And I don't think you're going to see that too much from every 2 weeks for a lot of the base cards. And especially in the older sets, you're not going to see huge price swings in, the commons, rares, and epics. The top end might change a few cents, but really there's not going to be a lot of movement. The thing to really look for are the legendaries and then the gold cards. So looking at the beta legendaries, as you can see, the cheapest one went from 10 to 8. The most expensive went from $150 to just under $200. So let's take a look at the legendaries for beta. So you're looking at $850, and then Valnamore is $195. And then let's go to the gold foils. So your common, so gold foil common beta is $4 for the cheapest. Compare that to the alpha, where your cheapest is 30. So question you have to ask yourself, are gold foil betas extremely undervalued? They do give you the multiple on land. They do give you the multiplier for ranked battles, and where they're just a fraction of the price compared to alphas, I'm wondering if these are underpriced or not. So as you can see, the most expensive one's 23 for the Saber Shark, but that's kind of an outlier. I would say pretty much it looks like the ceiling is around 14, 15 bucks for the best of the commons for beta. And once again, fairly low print runs. Some of these you have like 50, and then other ones you only have single digits, so not a lot of liquidity there. Let's take a look at the beta rares. So now you're moving up to about just around 20 bucks for the cheapest, all the way up to 85 for Ulrich and for the Stone Golem. Looking at epics, as you can see now we're getting into like single copies, 2 copies of each of these epics. So about 76 for the cheapest, and then there's a single copy of Kiara Lightbringer for just under 750. But if you disregard that, it looks like the top cards are right around the 300, 325 range. And then going to legendaries, single copies of all these except for Selena Sky, and the prices are basically, you just throw a price out there and see if anyone bites, at least for these two. The other ones looks like, $1,000 or so for a beta gold foil legendary. All right, moving on. Let's go to Untamed. Once again, just looking at the list, there's not a lot of movement in the base cards, just very slight movement. The legendary for Untamed, The high end went from 110 to 165. There were some key cards that I do want to point out. So let's look at regular foil, legendary, and let's look at Untamed. So your cheapest legendary for Untamed is about $260. So let's look at the top ones. And the one I really want to point out this week in the Market Watch is Jotun. Because Jotun 2 weeks ago was selling for $66. Now Jotun is selling for $165. And there's a decent amount of copies on the marketplace. So my question to you guys is, why the sudden jump in Jotun? And after that single copy at 165, the next one doesn't go to 166. Now you're going to 179, 187. So once these two copies sell, you're looking at $187 for the cheapest Jotun. So that is a huge, huge move from where it was 2 weeks ago. You know, a couple of the other key cards like Llama went down 10 bucks. Kron, you know, just a little bit lower. Kitty had a nice bump up. About a month ago, Kitty was selling, I saw a couple copies for just under $100. 2 weeks ago, Kitty was 110. Now it's moved back up to 145. The thing I want to point out too is that's the only copy that's 1 BCX. After that, then you're looking at 350 and 357 for 2 BCX. Or level 2, I should say, 3 BCX. But still very low liquidity, but the price has really moved up on Kitty as well. The promo cards, not really a whole lot of movement. Halfling Alchemist went up slightly. Chain Golem went down slightly. Mighty Dricken still selling for $9.50. For the gold foils, not a whole lot of movement. For the commons, rares, and epics, pretty much selling in the same range. But if we look at the legendary cards once again, especially the high-end ones, gold foil Kitty a couple weeks ago, 1,400. Now it's selling for about $12.50. There wasn't a Llama 2 weeks ago, now $660. Look at Jotun. There was one 2 weeks ago for just under $1,000. Now there's one copy for $8,000. So someone might have just bought that one and then relisted it for $8,000, but just wanted to point that out to you guys. Kron fell a little bit from 800 down to 666. And then a couple other of the high-end cards are Magnor and Almo Cambio, listed for just under $2,000. So just wanted to point that out. And then for the gold foil promos, if we look at those. Let's look at promo. You got Chain Golem for 115. And you've got a Halfling Alchemist for 107. And just 6 copies of that, only a single copy of the Chain Golem. Okay, moving on to dice. Very small set. Let's get off of gold, get to regular. Go back to dice. So of course dice is a very small set, only 25 cards. Not a lot of movement, of course, in the base cards. You know, the commons are still very cheap. The only card really of note for the rares, Mylor, bumped up slightly from $4 to $4.35. Not a whole lot of movement in the epics or legendaries. But then if we look at the gold foil cards, you know, your cheapest gold foil dice card under $1. You know, would it be worth it? There's only 2,000 in circulation just to pick up a single copy, just for something to play. You know, if you're in Wild and you can play some of these older sets, you know, would it be worth it to pick up a card that gives you, you know, that nice 10% gold bonus for under $1? You know, there's some decent cards here, you know, like Flamesmith, Battering Ram. If you can get those for a couple of bucks, you know, that might be worth it, might be a decent deal. Gold Summoners. I always love gold summoners. $5 for Quid and Vera, not too bad. Auster 13, Lorna Shine just under 17. Bright and Bloom, very popular, especially with the Earthquake rule sets. You know, just under 20 for a single copy there. Mylor went up a little bit. He's at $44. You know, everyone knows the power of Mylor. And then the most expensive gold foil legendaries, you're looking at just over $660 for Two Gun Pete and a Ganju. So there are the gold foils for Asmur dice. And now let's get into Orb. So once again, not a lot of movement in any of the base cards. You can see the prices here. Getting to the gold foil commons. So let's go to Orbs. And let's just look at the gold foil cards. Okay, so Goblin Chief, 465, Molten Ogre, 475, Armor Smith. I use this card a lot, so 540, it's a good price for that. And once again, I think, does this start at level 4 or level 3 for a single copy? Starts at level 4. So not too bad that you can get a level 4 right off the bat gold card for just, a single copy for $5, a little over $5. So good card there. So you can see these are all the cards that are available. Your high-end Minotaur Warlord is still sitting at 8,000. Corruptus Pegasus just under 1,300. And your two epics. These are pretty much pretty close in price. Let's take a look at these. So these were pretty close in price just a few weeks ago. They were both around 240, I believe. Dwarven Wizard has fallen a lot. Not sure why. I really like that card, being neutral, Little League, magic damage, snipe. But look at this, how this is kind of backwards. Dwarven Wizard is a little over half the price of Mermaid Healer, but Dwarven Wizard Gold Foil is 3.5 times the price of the Mermaid Healer. So something here is way out of skew. Should the Dwarven Wizard be like 50, 60 bucks gold foil compared to the healer? This is backwards of how you would think it would be. If the Mermaid Healer is more expensive regular foil, it should be more expensive gold foil. So I just thought that was kind of a weird anomaly I wanted to point out. Let's move to Chaos Legion. Probably the biggest movement in Chaos Legion, and it's really not huge movement, but it's just the summoners. So let's look at summoners. So in the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of movement with summoners. Of course, people are getting ready for the new ranked battle system. Thaddeus Brood and Kelia spiked a few days ago. Kelia, there was actually copies selling for around $9. I think Thaddeus Brood was like 7 or 8. They've settled down a little bit again to where they have been, where you're looking at about $3.50 for the cheapest, up to $5. But take a look at this. Kelia has moved over $1. How long has it been since we've seen Kelia at $1? And some of the other ones have moved up as well. General Sloan for a while was in the 20-cent range. So people are starting to really buy up these summoners. I know people will say, oh, there's 128 on the market. Yeah, there are, but if you look at BCX, you need, 115 BCX to max one out. So you've basically got one, let's just count these as max, 2, 3, 3.5. That would probably make 4. And then you're looking at 1 BCX and down. So altogether, you've probably got 5 max Kelias on the market for sale. That's it. So if you're like, it's like, oh, I'll just go General Sloan, I'll go the cheapest. Sort by BCX. 1, 2, 3, we'll count these as max. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, these are actually about half max. So let's count these as max. So you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11. So after the first 11 cards, they're basically single. So take 11 out. So you've got 11 maxed, about 230 left. Yep, that's 2 more. So you've got 13 max General Sloans that are available, and he's, considered the worst summoner among the Chaos Legion group. So not very many cards available to max these out if you guys want to get to having a max copy for the new rank system. So that's one of the things I wanted to point out for that. And then, like I said, as far as epics go, The prices of epics really haven't moved a whole lot for the regular foil, but the gold foils have come down a bit. I remember about a month ago, where the cheapest gold foil epic, you were looking at $859 for the cheapest one. This is when I was looking at buying them for land, because my strategy was to get single copies of gold foil epics and then level them up over time. Jin Chwal, I can remember, was like $9,950. So it's a good time right now compared to where prices have been if you want to pick up some gold foil epics for your land. Especially if you have the land types that need death or fire, you can get some copies for under $6. So, and there's not very many there, so good time to pick these up. So as you can see, there's like 3 copies at $6, and then you're looking at, you know, $7.50, $8 again. So heads up, if you guys are looking to pick up some of these cards for land, you want to do it pretty quick because there's not a lot on the market. And then looking at the legendaries, remember when the floor price for gold foil epics or gold foil legendaries was around $50? Now we're sitting at, there's, you know, a couple cards under 40. You know, Lure of the Dark at 36. Once again, it's a nice card to pick up for land. Most expensive card, surprisingly, Yasik at 74. Pasilbus the Wise just around 74. So good price for these gold foil legendaries, I think, overall. Especially when you get cards like the Fiends, where the Fiends, they're probably not going to be reprinted at any point in the future. I very much doubt you're going to have any 0 mana cost cards coming up in any of the next few sets. So this is going to be the only set where you can basically get a 0 cost card to throw it in your deck, use it for a blocker, or if you max it out, you know, they do give the different abilities. So these are definitely cards to look at and think about for future use long term. Let's also look now at the promo cards. So let's look at the regular foil first. So not a lot of movement between Archimus and Brews, you know, still around, you know, 8 to 10 cents, 30 to 35 cents for these. As far as your regular foils, Osher went down from 21 to 16. Dr. Blight dipped a little bit from 34 to 32. Zerial bumped up a little bit, but the card I want to point out is Waka. Waka right now, well, now there's a copy at $4.99. There was a copy of Waka that I saw selling for $6.25. So Waka's taken a huge jump in price from where he was 2 weeks ago at 165 to now 500 or more. Lux dipped down a bit from 400 to 300. Gold foil commons, we went over the summoners not too long ago. Really not a whole lot of change. The main thing was the epics, the floor price being a little bit lower and more affordable. And then, of course, gold foil legendaries, where you can get some for under $40, and even the top end of a gold foil legendary is under 80. So now let's look at the gold foil versions. So the gold foil versions of the promo cards, not a whole lot of change between the Bear and Brews. Looking at the legendaries, Osher pretty much the same price as with Dr. Blight. Zerial went up a little bit from $219 to $249. There was a gold foil Waka. Is he still there? Yep, $38.88 for the 1 copy of Waka, and the Lux at $22.50. Okay, let's move on now to Rift Watchers. Once again, not a lot of change in the base cards other than the legendaries. The big card of note for Rift Watchers that changed in price was Inevitable. It's bumped up a little bit, but Inevitable had gone from $38.80 2 weeks ago down to $27.80. It's now at just under 34. So that is one card that I wanted to point out. And then if we look at the gold foil versions, your cheapest is Mortius, which I am surprised at because Runemancer is usually looked at as the weakest card. But it's not the cheapest gold foil legendary. And then Inevitable is up to $350 for a gold foil and only 3 copies available. And then finally with Rebellion, once again, not a lot of movement in the base cards. But I think probably one of the biggest news, at least to me, are the promos. Grimbard and Smith around $7.50 for a gold foil. Excuse me. Manaroth just under $70. Now I thought 50 was pretty strong when it had a $50 price tag. Now you're looking at $69 for a Manaroth and over $550 for a gold foil. 2 on the market, only 134 cards in circulation. I see this card, let's just see if his prediction comes true. 2 weeks from now, I see this at $7.50. So we'll see if that prediction comes through. But yeah, super powerful card, gold foil, not many in circulation. People that have them are pretty much putting them on their mage wagons, so you're not going to see a lot on the market. Can't get these in packs. So yeah. So biggest news from this week, I would say Manaroth, gold foil, Grimbard and Smith gold foil. The prices of Manaroth from where it was, 47 to around 70. That's huge. A good opportunity for you to get Chaos Legion gold foil epics at a decent price if you want to. And probably the other thing that I want to mention is alpha cards. Just being able to get alpha cards under $1 is just a fantastic opportunity. So there you have it, guys. Want to end this video before my voice gives out. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you enjoyed the Market Watch. We'll do it again in another 2 weeks just to see how everything has changed. Want to really keep track of how many vouchers are in circulation. Are we really burning 27,000 vouchers a day at this point? If we are, I think that really is important for vouchers going forward as they add new burning mechanics, that this number may go negative. And if this number goes negative, where we're starting to burn through the base amount, then things are really going to get exciting. So I hope you guys are doing well. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. And if there's any questions or comments you have, please leave those in the comment section below. And until next time, remember, stay the course, keep on forging, and have fun. We'll see you soon.